The cold metal floor of the Galactic Council station vibrated softly under Commander Lee. Hannah's boots, as she walked toward the main communication chamber. The massive space station floated in the darkness between stars, home to representatives from 47 different alien species. Each species had their own section, their own technology, their own way of thinking. But today, they would all hear the same desperate message. Hannah entered the circular chamber where holographic displays showed star maps and data streams. The other representatives were already there, standing or floating in their preferred positions. The Zephyrians looked like tall, thin crystals that glowed with blue light. The Thrax resembled giant insects with multiple arms that clicked and moved constantly. The gentle Ultrarians appeared almost human, but with silver skin that seemed to flow like water. "Signal incoming from Sector 779, announced the station's computer in a flat, emotionless voice. Source unknown. Language unknown. Distress pattern confirmed. The chamber fell silent as the signal began to play. Even through the translation barriers, everyone could hear the fear in those alien voices. There were deep, musical tones that rose and fell like ocean waves. Sometimes the sounds became sharp and quick, like someone was crying. In the background, smaller voices called out, probably children. Dr. Kim Sora, Earth's language expert, worked quickly at her portable translation device. She was a small woman with tired eyes, who had spent years learning how to talk to aliens. Her fingers moved fast across the holographic keyboard as she tried to make sense of the sounds. "I'm getting fragments," she whispered to Hannah. "Water. Home. ... Help us ... The light is growing too bright." The Zephyrian delegate, a creature called Vexhaller, pulsed with cold blue light as it analyzed the signal. Stellar coordinates indicate Kethmori system. Distance, 47,000 light-years. Stellar analysis shows critical instability. Hannah felt her heart sink. 47,000 light-years was incredibly far, even with their fastest ships. And if the star was unstable, that meant it might explode soon. "How much time do they have?" asked the Elturian representative, its silver face showing what looked like concern. "Computer analysis suggests 50 to 60 Earth days before complete stellar collapse," Vexhaller replied. Its crystal body dimmed slightly. Insufficient time for standard rescue operations. One by one, the other species began their own analysis. The Thrax delegate Kathrix clicked its many arms as it calculated. Resource expenditure too high. Mission success probability below acceptable parameters. Thrax Empire cannot justify such risk. The Lumens beings made of pure energy that floated in glowing spheres spoke next. Temporal displacement through hyperspace at required speeds would damage our vessels. We must decline participation. Hannah watched with growing anger as each species found reasons to say no. The mathematics were simple to them. Too far, too dangerous, too expensive. But those weren't just numbers in the signal. Those were real voices, real people facing death. "The Kethmori system sits between 3 hostile territories," explained Morgith, of the hegemony species. "Any rescue fleet would face attacks from pirates. Navigation through the Devastator Nebula, an arrival at a system already being torn apart by stellar forces. Furthermore," added the Ultrarian, "our intelligence suggests the Kethmori are an aquatic species. Evacuation protocols would require specialized equipment we do not possess." Dr. Kim looked up from her translation work, her face pale. "I've decoded more of their message. They're a young species. They only achieved spaceflight 30 years ago. They have no way to evacuate themselves. Their entire civilization is trapped on one world. Tragic, but not our responsibility," said the Vorthari delegate, a creature that looked like living glass. "The Galactic Treaty clearly states that each species must ensure its own survival. We cannot risk our people for every species that faces extinction." The chamber filled with agreement. Clicking sounds from the Thrax, harmonic tones from the Lumens crystal chimes from the Zephyrians, all saying the same thing. No. Hannah stepped forward. Earth requests full mission details. The chamber fell quiet. All the alien eyes, sensors, and energy fields turned toward her. Commander Hannah, the Altrian said gently, surely you understand the impossibility of this mission. Your species has the smallest fleet, the most limited resources. If we, with our advanced technology, cannot attempt this rescue, how could Earth succeed? We need to see the full data before making our decision, Hannah replied firmly. Vexler's crystal body pulsed brighter. Very well. Computer, display full tactical analysis for Earth representative. The holographic display lit up with star charts, showing the impossible journey. 3 different alien territories to cross, each with their own dangers. The Devastator Nebula, a region of space where quantum storms could tear ships apart. And, finally, the Kethmori system itself, where the dying star was already throwing off radiation and gravitational waves that made space travel nearly impossible. As you can see, Vexhaller continued, success probability is 2.7%. Casualty estimates exceed 90% for any rescue fleet. The logical decision is clear. Hannah stared at the display for a long moment. She could hear the alien voices, still playing in the background, growing weaker as their world died around them. Then she looked up at all the advanced alien species surrounding her. Earth will vote yes for immediate rescue operations. The silence that followed seemed to last forever. Admiral Park Jinwoo stood in the war room deep inside Earth's Defense Command Center, staring at the holographic display that showed the impossible mission ahead. The room buzzed with activity as officers and scientists worked at their stations. But Jinwoo felt the weight of silence from the alien species who had already said no. Dr. Kim. Sora sat at a large table covered with translation equipment and data pads. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but she continued working on the Kethmori language. Every few minutes, she would play another fragment of the distress signal, and the desperate voices would fill the room. Tell me what we know, Jinwoo said to his staff. Lieutenant Colonel Choi Minho activated the star map. The Kethmori system is here, 47,000 light-years away. To reach them, we have to cross through Krillian space first. The Krillians are not exactly friendly to humans, but they're not our enemies either. They just love paperwork and bureaucracy. How long would their inspection process take? Asked Jinwoo. 3 days minimum. Maybe a week if they are feeling difficult. Jinwoo frowned. Every day counted when people were dying. What's after Krillian space? The Devastator Nebula, replied Commander Bayujin, the fleet's top navigator. It's a region where space itself is unstable. Quantum storms happen without warning. They can destroy navigation systems, tear holes in ship hulls, or send you spinning into a different part of the galaxy entirely. How do other species usually handle it? They don't. Most species go around it, which adds months to any journey. The few that go through use special shielding that we don't have. Dr. Kim looked up from her work. I've translated more of their message. The Kethmori are definitely aquatic. Their cities are built underwater. They breathe a mixture of water and gases that we've never seen before. And, ... She paused. They have children. Lots of children. The signal mentions nurseries and schools. Jinwoo felt something twist in his stomach. Children always made these decisions harder. What about their star? He asked. Chief Science Officer on Daehai pulled up stellar analysis charts. It's going. Supernova. The process has already started. When it explodes, everything in that system will be destroyed instantly. But before that happens, the star will throw off massive amounts of radiation and gravitational waves. Any ship trying to operate near that system will face extreme danger. How extreme? The radiation alone could kill a human crew in hours without proper shielding. The gravitational waves will make hyperspace jumps nearly impossible, and the Stars' instability is causing the outer planets to break apart. The asteroid field around their world gets more dangerous every day. The room fell quiet, except for the sound of computers working and the occasional fragment of alien voices from Dr. Kim's translation equipment. President Yang Yunji's face appeared on the main communication screen. She was calling from the government building in Seoul, where the Earth Council was meeting to discuss the situation. "Admiral Park," she said, "I've been briefing the world leaders about this situation. The Galactic Council species have made their position clear. They all say it's impossible." "Yes, Madam President, I've seen their analysis. Their technology is more advanced than ours. Their ships are faster and stronger. Their crews have more experience with long-distance rescue missions. If they say it can't be done," Jinwoo interrupted gently. "Madam President, may I ask you something?" "Of course. When the tsunami hit Jakarta last year, how many rescue ships did we send?" Yang paused. "All of them. Every ship we could find. And when the earthquake destroyed half of Mexico City, we sent everything: medical teams, construction crews, food supplies." "Did we calculate the odds of success first?" Yang was quiet for a moment. "No. We just went." "The Galactic Council species are asking the wrong question," Jinwoo said. "They're asking, can we succeed? But the question should be, can we live with ourselves if we don't try?" Dr. Kim suddenly stood up, excitement in her voice. "I've got more translation. They're talking about their history, their culture. The Kathmori have been on their world for millions of years. They've never hurt anyone. They don't even have weapons. They're completely peaceful. And they're talking about their art, their music, their stories. They don't want these things to die with them." Lieutenant Colonel Choi brought up tactical displays. "If we strip every transport ship, every medical vessel, every escort we have, we could put together a fleet of 12 ships. It's not much compared to what other species could send. But it's what we have," Jinwoo replied. Commander Bay looked worried. "Sir, the math doesn't work. Even if everything goes perfectly, we'd barely have enough transport capacity for half their population, and nothing will go perfectly on a mission like this. Then we'll make multiple trips. Sir, we might not survive the first trip." Walked over to the window that looked out over Earth's blue oceans and white clouds. Somewhere out there, 47,000 light-years away, another ocean world was dying. Another species was facing the end of everything they had ever known. "Get me Captain Seo Junho," he said finally. "Tell him to prep the fleet. We're going." "All 12 ships?" asked Choi. "Every ship we can fly, every person we can spare. Those people are going to die. They won't die because humanity didn't try to save them." President Yang smiled on the screen. "The Earth Council will authorize Operation Distant Hand immediately." Within 6 hours, humanity was preparing for the most impossible rescue mission in galactic history. Captain Seo Junho felt the vibration through his boots as the UES Determination jumped into hyperspace. Around him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations, their faces lit by the blue glow of the navigation displays. Behind them, 11 other human ships followed in formation, carrying everything Earth could spare for the rescue mission. "Time to Krillian border, 18 hours, reported Navigation Officer Legion. His young face looked worried as he checked the stellar charts again and again. Junho walked to the main viewing screen, where he could see the other ships in their fleet. The Hope carried medical supplies and doctors. The Resilience was packed with emergency food and water. The Defiance had been stripped down to carry as many transport pods as possible. Every ship had been modified for this mission, and every modification made them a little less safe. "Captain," said Communications Officer Park Hyren, "we're getting messages from Earth. The news networks want interviews. The government wants updates, and ... She paused. "We're getting thousands of personal messages from people wishing us luck." "Store them for later," Junho replied. "We'll need something good to read if we survive this." His first officer, Commander Bei Yujin, looked up from her tactical display. Sir, I've been studying the Krillian protocols. They require a full inspection of every ship, every crew member, every piece of cargo. The process takes a minimum of 3 days. We don't have 3 days. I know, sir. But if we ignore their protocols, they might attack us. Junho thought about this as he watched the stars stream past. The Krillians weren't evil, just extremely bureaucratic. They loved rules and paperwork more than most species loved breathing. But somewhere ahead, the Kethmori were running out of time. Prepare for normal space, called Legion, Krillian border, in 60 seconds. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Krillian territory. Immediately, 6 Krillian patrol ships appeared on their sensors, moving to intercept. Human vessels, came a voice over the communication system. You are entering Krillian space without proper authorization. Prepare for inspection. Commander Bei looked at Junho. Captain, if we submit to inspection, those people will die while we fill out forms, Junho finished. He opened a channel to all ships in the fleet. All vessels, this is Junho, we're running the blockade. Follow my lead and jump to hyperspace on my mark. Sir, whispered Yujin, that's technically an act of war. Then we'll deal with the consequences later. Those children can't wait for Krillian paperwork. The Krillian ships moved to surround the human fleet, but Junho had already made his decision. All ships, jump now. The 12 human vessels vanished into hyperspace, leaving the confused Krillian patrol behind. Junho knew there would be diplomatic problems later, but later was better than never. Next obstacle, the Devastator Nebula, announced Legion Min, ETA, 42 hours. The journey through normal hyperspace gave the crew time to rest, but Junho couldn't sleep. He walked through the ship, talking to his people, checking systems. In the medical bay, Dr. Namtae-Hyun was preparing equipment for aquatic aliens they had never seen before. How do you treat someone who breathes water? The doctor asked. Very carefully, Junho replied. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Devastator Nebula, and everyone understood why other species avoided this place. Space itself looked sick here. Colors that shouldn't exist swirled in impossible patterns. Stars appeared and disappeared as quantum storms bent light around them. Sensors are going crazy, reported Science Officer on Dehai. I'm reading gravitational anomalies, temporal distortions, and energy patterns that don't make sense. Can we navigate through it? Barely. We'll have to rely on manual piloting and basic instruments. If we get separated, some ships might never find their way out. Junho opened the channel to the fleet. All ships, stay close. Follow the determination and don't trust your sensors completely. They entered the nebula slowly, like swimmers entering dangerous water. Almost immediately, things went wrong. The Courage spun off course when a quantum storm hit its navigation system. The Unity lost main power for 20 minutes. Worst of all, the Resilience suffered a massive hull breach when space itself seemed to fold around it. Resilience. This is Junho report status. Chief Engineer on Dehai's voice came through, full of static. Hull breach in sections 4 through 7. We're losing atmosphere fast. Drop out of hyperspace for repairs. Negative, sir. If we drop out here, we'll never catch up. I'm suiting up for external repairs. Junho felt his blood turn cold. External repairs, while in hyperspace, violated every safety rule ever written. No one had ever tried it, because no one thought it was possible to survive. Dohai, that's suicide. Maybe. But those people don't have time for us to do this the safe way. For the next 3 hours, Dehai worked outside the Resilience while it traveled through hyperspace, welding hull plates and rerouting systems while reality bent around her. It should have killed her instantly, but somehow she held on. Repairs complete, she finally reported, exhaustion clear in her voice. Hull integrity restored. The fleet pushed through the rest of the nebula, battered but intact. When they finally emerged on the other side, they faced their final challenge, the Kethmori system, where a dying star was tearing apart everything around it. Asteroid field ahead, called Lee Jamin. It's massive, sir. Those used to be planets. Junho looked at the debris field that stretched for millions of kilometers. Somewhere beyond it, an entire species was waiting for help that might never come. Take us in, he ordered. The human rescue fleet emerged from the asteroid field to find a world in its final days. Captain Junho stared at the main viewing screen, watching the Kethmori homeworld spin slowly beneath its dying star. The planet's surface was almost completely covered by dark blue oceans, but those oceans were boiling now. Steam rose in massive clouds as the unstable star pumped deadly radiation into space. 18 days, said Science Officer on Day High, her voice quiet. That's all the time we have before the star explodes. Dr. Kim Sora worked frantically at her translation station, trying to establish contact with the planet below. Static filled the communication channels as solar flares disrupted signals. Finally, a voice came through musical tones that rose and fell like waves. I'm getting something, Kim said excitedly. They know we're here. They're crying. Not sad crying. Happy crying. They can't believe someone came. Navigation Officer Lee Jamin pulled up scans of the planet. Captain, we have a problem. The Kethmori cities are underwater. All of them. Some are 2 kilometers beneath the surface. Our transport pods won't work down there. Junho felt his heart sink. They had traveled 47,000 light-years, fought through alien territory and quantum storms, only to discover they couldn't reach the people they came to save. How many Kethmori are there? He asked. Approximately 2.8 million, Kim replied after listening to more transmissions. They're concentrated in 12 major cities. But Captain, the planet's crust is breaking apart. Massive earthquakes are happening every few hours. Some of the smaller cities have already been destroyed. Commander Bae-Yujin studied the tactical display. Sir, we have 12 ships in 18 days. Even if we could reach them, we don't have enough transport capacity for 2.8 million people. Then we make multiple trips, Junho said firmly. Sir, the star is getting more unstable every hour. Each trip will be more dangerous than the last. We might not survive even one round trip. Junho opened a channel to all ships in the fleet. All captains, report to the determination for emergency planning session. Within an hour, the senior officers from all 12 ships gathered in the main conference room. They studied the scans of the dying world, trying to find a solution to an impossible problem. We need to split our mission, Junho announced. 6 ships will begin immediate evacuation runs, while the other 6 strip their hulls to build underwater transport pods. Captain Lee Minsu of the Hope looked shocked. Strip our hulls. That will leave us defenseless. We're not here to fight, Junho replied. We're here to save lives. Chief Engineer Park Hiron from the Resilience studied the technical specifications. I can build underwater pods from hull plating and life support systems. They won't be pretty, but they'll work. Each pod could carry maybe 50 Kethmori at a time. How long to build them? If we work around the clock, maybe 4 days for the first batch. We don't have 4 days, said Dr. Nam Taehan. The planet's magnetic field is collapsing. The radiation levels down there are already dangerous. Kim looked up from her translation work. The Kethmori are trying to help. They're sending up their own small transport vehicles, but they're not designed for space travel. Most of them break apart before reaching our ships. Junho made the hardest decision of his life. We start now. Park, begin stripping hull plating from the Unity, Courage, and Defiance. The rest of us will start evacuation runs with whatever equipment we have. The work began immediately. Human engineers worked in the vacuum of space, cutting apart their own ships to build crude underwater vessels. Meanwhile, pilots like Captain Nam Taeyan took shuttles down through the planet's violent atmosphere, fighting radiation storms and gravitational waves from the dying star. The first evacuation run brought up 200 Kethmori refugees. Junho watched them emerge from the transport pods, beings that looked like living water, their transparent bodies pulsing with soft colors. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time, nothing like any species humans had ever encountered. "They're thanking us," Kim translated as the musical tones filled the docking bay. "They want to know why we came when no one else would." "Tell them we came because they called for help," Junho replied. The evacuations continued day and night. Human crews pushed themselves beyond exhaustion, making run after run through increasingly dangerous conditions. The star's radiation fried electronics, so repairs had to be constant. 3 crew members suffered severe radiation poisoning but refused to leave their posts. On day 12, disaster struck. The Defiance was making an evacuation run when a massive solar flare hit the planet. The electromagnetic pulse knocked out the ship's engines just as it was trying to escape the atmosphere. "Defiance, this is Junho, report status." "Captain Choi." Minho's voice came through, filled with static. "We're going down, sir. Engines are dead. We've got 800 Kethmori aboard. Can you restart your engines?" "Negative. But sir, we can still launch the escape pods. The Kethmori can survive re-entry in their water-filled pods. My crew will stay with the ship and try to guide it away from the populated areas." Ju felt tears in his eyes. "Minho, there has to be another way. Sir, those people down there are counting on us. Don't let our sacrifice be meaningless." The Defiance crashed into the ocean 2 hours later. All 67 crew members died, but the 800 Kethmori refugees survived. It was the first ship humanity had lost, but it wouldn't be the last. As the final days approached, and the star prepared for its violent death, 3 human ships remained in the system's outer atmosphere, their hulls glowing from radiation as they waited for the last transport pods to arrive. The emergency rally point at Kepler Station had been quiet for decades, but now it buzzed with activity like never before. Admiral Park Jin-woo stood at the observation deck, watching as 8 battered human ships slowly approached the docking bays. The Defiance, Courage, Unity, and Resilience were gone, lost to the dying star's fury. But the survivors carried something precious beyond measure. Captain Juno's face appeared on the communication screen, exhausted but smiling. "Admiral, requesting permission to dock. We have 2.3 million passengers who need new homes." Jin-woo felt his throat tighten with emotion. "Permission granted, Captain. Welcome home." The docking process took hours. The human ships had been pushed far beyond their limits, their hulls scarred by radiation and their systems barely functioning. But from there, cargo bays came streams of Kethmori refugees, beings of living water, whose transparent bodies pulsed with colors that seemed to express gratitude in ways human words could never capture. Dr. Kim Sora worked with the Kethmori leaders to establish temporary living areas filled with the water gas mixture they needed to breathe. The station's engineers had never seen anything like it, but they adapted quickly. Humans were good at adapting. 80%, Kim reported to Jin-woo, as they watched families of Kethmori settle into their new temporary homes. "We saved 80% of their entire species, and the cost." Kim's expression grew somber. 4 ships lost. 237 crew members didn't make it home. Captain Minho, of the Defiance, Chief Engineer Dahai of the Resilience, and so many others. News of the rescue spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace travel. Within days, every member species of the Galactic Council had received detailed reports about the impossible mission that had somehow succeeded. Commander Lee Hanna found herself standing once again in the council chamber, but this time the atmosphere was completely different. The same alien representatives who had coldly calculated the mission as impossible now stared at her with something that looked like confusion, respect, and maybe even shame. We require detailed tactical analysis, demanded Vexheiler, the Zephyr delegate. Its crystal body pulsed with rapid blue light. How did your species succeed, where our projections showed failure? You had superior technology, added the Thrax representative Cathrix, its insect arms clicking nervously. Larger fleets, better resources, more experience. The mathematics should have favored us. Hannah looked around the chamber at all the advanced alien species. You calculated whether you could succeed. We calculated whether we could live with ourselves if we didn't try. The Alturian ambassador Morgeth floated closer, but the risk assessment clearly showed. Risk assessment doesn't account for human stubbornness, Hannah interrupted gently. When Chief Engineer Dohai performed repairs while traveling through hyperspace, she wasn't following any safety protocol. She was just refusing to let people die because of a damaged ship. Such behavior is illogical, observed the Vorthari delegate. Maybe, but it worked. 6 months later, the Kethmori settlement on New Pacifica had become something remarkable. The aquatic aliens had established underwater cities in the planet's vast oceans. But they had also built floating platforms where humans and Kethmori could meet and work together. Dr. Kim often visited the settlement to continue her language studies. She found that the Kethmori didn't just speak with sounds, they communicated through color changes in their transparent bodies, water movements, and even chemical signals in the water around them. They're teaching us about underwater engineering, she explained to a group of human scientists. Their technology is completely different from ours, but it's incredibly advanced. They can build structures that grow like living things, powered by ocean currents and tidal forces. The Kethmori innovations soon spread throughout human space and beyond. Their organic engineering techniques revolutionized terraforming projects. Their understanding of fluid dynamics helped improve everything from spaceship design to weather control systems. But the real change came in how the galaxy responded to distress signals. Admiral Jinwoo was reviewing fleet reports when the next emergency signal arrived. It came from the edge of hegemony space, a mining colony under attack by pirates. Their communications cut, their defenses failing. Standard procedure would be to route this through the hegemony military, his aide reported. It's their territory, their responsibility. What do the hegemony forces say? They're calculating response time and resource allocation. Preliminary estimate is 72 hours for deployment. Jinwoo thought about families hiding in mining tunnels while pirates ransacked their homes. Those people don't have hours. But before he could order a human response, something unprecedented happened. The communication board lit up with incoming messages from across the galaxy. "This is the Zephyrian Fourth Fleet," came the first message. "We volunteer for immediate response to mining colony distress call. Thrax Engineering Corps ready to assist with defensive installations," followed another. "Alturian medical ships departing within the hour." Even the bureaucratic Krillians offered to expedite any necessary paperwork. Hannah watched from Earth as a truly galactic rescue. Fleet assembled ships from a dozen different species working together for the first time in Council history. The mission succeeded, with 0 casualties. The pirates were captured, and the mining families were saved. What changed? Hannah asked Jinwoo during their debriefing. "We showed them something they'd forgotten," he replied, watching the news reports of species celebrating together. That the measure of a civilization isn't in its technology or territory. It's in whether you answer when someone calls for help. In the end, humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't advanced weapons or faster ships. It was the simple understanding that impossible was just another word for no one has tried hard enough yet. And across the stars, that lesson echoed in every distress signal that was no longer ignored.